want to earn more? Work less and enjoy what you do each day. It's no secret, it can be done. This podcast with Dr. T will not only educate and inspire you, it will also teach you how to do more and be more with the time you already have. It will be like a shot of adrenaline straight into the heart of your business. Here is your host, Tyson Franklin.
Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of It's No Secret with Dr. T. With me today is Geoff Anderson, and he loves helping his clients tell their stories through video. He's been doing this since 1993, so you've been doing this for a long time. And he's also the author of two books. One is Shoot Me Now, making videos to boost your business, and the second book coming out is Watch Me Now, which is going to be out very, very soon. So Geoff, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm very well, Tyson. Yes, I'm actually about to press send to the printers. I've got the typesetting done on the book, so and I'm having the launch. I've already picked a date at the end of August, so it's all very exciting.
Oh, cool, because I saw the second book come through on Facebook. And I mentioned to you before I pressed record that I'd had you on my list of people that I wanted to get on because I know you're an expert in video. And when I saw your post come through about your second book, I've been going, my God, why have I waited so long to get Geoff on here? So therefore, we can flog the crap out of your first book and talk about that, and then we'll talk about what the second book is all about.
It's taken you 2 books to get in touch with me. I love it.
I know.
I should have written that second book sooner.
You should have, and then you should have posted your first book on social media more often. Because I think that happens sometimes is we do something and we create a gem like this book, Shoot Me Now, and we forget it's there. So you forget that there's people that are probably following you now on social media or have connected with you since 2013 when you wrote the book, that you've forgotten that they don't necessarily know you've got the book.
That's actually one of the points I make in my second book, Watch Me Now, which is all about how to leverage your videos. But the same thing applies to any sort of content that you've got out there. You share it once and you think, oh, great, I've done it, I've shared it, and everybody knows about it. But of course they don't. You need to keep sharing it. You need to keep repeating it. And I guess I'm the plumber with the leaky pipes in that instance, where you get a bit guilty of, not practicing what I preach. But yeah, it is important to just keep the message repeating, because it's like a television commercial. You don't see a television commercial once, you see it multiple times, because it needs to be seen multiple times for it to make an impact.
It's true. I used to have a newspaper ad when I had my podiatry clinic, and I remember the newspaper contacting me and saying, when are you going to change that ad that you're running? You've had the same ad for, I don't know how long. I said, I've been using the same ad for about 20 years. And they went, why haven't you changed it? I said, because it still works. And it made me realize that you just keep repeating that same message all the time. And there's going to be people who have not seen that message before. They haven't been looking. They haven't been in the right frame of mind. So I'm sure there's people who have thought about video, and then you're not putting your book in front of them. Shame on you.
Well, yeah, and I know, shame on me. Well, I guess yes, the book is certainly there to build credibility. And the first book, Shoot Me Now, is all about how to make videos. And I wrote that about 6 years ago when I could see there was a lot of interest. It was starting to build. People starting to become a lot more aware of the power of video, and it's easy to make good videos. It's really easy to make bad videos as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought, look, if I could dump a couple of decades of experience into a book and just give some people some tips on things to avoid, some really basic things that you want to get right when you're making videos, can make all the difference. And they're not hard to get right when you're aware of it. So that's what that book was about. But what's happened since then is I've realized, there's so much more video content out there, and it's great to see people have really embraced it, and it's so easy to make these days. But the next step is actually making sure that it's getting in front of the right people, making sure people are actually seeing it and they're engaging with it, because just putting it up on your YouTube channel or on your Facebook or your website once is not enough to really get the engagement that you should be getting from that investment.
And that's what the second book is going to be focusing on.
Yeah, how to leverage your videos to maximize your return on investment. Watch Me Now.
Okay. So your company, Sonic Sight, you kicked that off. How did you get into video in the first place? What was it about video that sort of got your juices flowing in the first place, and you went, this is an area I want to get into? Like, I'm sure back in 1993, the internet, social media wasn't around then. So now it makes sense more so than back in 1993. You're a trailblazer.
Well, early adopter. Yeah. I actually wondered, what was I doing back then? What were the videos we were making? we were making corporate videos. We were also doing special events as well. So we were doing the stage management of conferences and award nights. So that was another side of the business. But over the years, I've sort of pushed that to the side and just focused mostly on videos. The way it evolved was I actually learnt this job on the fly. I had a business partner who was a technical director at Channel 9.
Okay.
He and I got together and said, let's start a business. And we were doing this, and it was great fun. And over time, I just learnt more and more and more and just soaked it all up and loved it. We ended up buying an editing suite. I started learning how to edit. He taught me how to film. I learned how to film. And along the way, I went through this imposter syndrome of thinking, who am I to be making videos? I haven't gone to TAFE and I haven't done this.
Yeah.
And after about 10 years, I then caught myself and I thought, but I could be teaching people who are at TAFE about how to do this. And I thought maybe I need to come to terms with the fact that I am actually a video producer and I do actually know what I'm doing and just embrace it and go with it. So, I love telling the stories. I love the creative aspect of it. I love sitting down with clients and having a brief and having, the limitations of whatever that brief may be, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's locations or whatever, and then coming up with a creative solution that's going to hit all the buttons they need to hit and come up with a great video. So for me, it's the, very much the storytelling, the creative part of it is something that really excites me.
So when you run courses at the moment, teaching people how to do this?
Look, I don't so much. We have in the past.
I had seen it in the past. That's why I asked. I had seen that you had run some 1 or 2 day workshops about video.
Yeah, which were good. I mean, to be honest with you, I found it. I loved doing the courses. I loved the presenting. I really enjoyed that. I just hated doing the getting the bums on seats. It was just.
Oh, it is tough.
And and I thought, you know what? I'd rather than spend all that energy and all that time doing that, which, it's rewarding when you do it. But I thought I'd rather just go and ring up a new client and make some more videos for them. So we're sort of like, I've just focused in on that, which is what I enjoy doing and which is what gives me the better return on investment as well.
Yeah, running events, I think, I don't think people who attend events realize how hard it is for the people running the event, the amount of work that goes about. I think when the event's all set up, the day that it runs, I think, is quite easy. But all the work that goes behind the scenes, people don't realize the time and effort that goes into it.
Look, and you've got to, really be prepared for that and invest in that to make it work. And I know there are now courses on there on how to fill your course.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll pay you $1,000 and I'll tell you how to get $10,000 out of a course. So you just need 10 people to turn up.
That's true. So when social media really started to kick off, as soon as social media started to take hold, straight away did you go, oh, wow, there's a place here for me? Or did it take a little while? Were other people doing it and you went, oh, I can do this as well?
Oh, no, look, there was always an option there. It was just a matter of time in terms of bandwidth. So, to start with, it was texts and then it was photos and then it started to have faster bandwidth to accept video. So that was, for us, it was always about, how to get in front of the right people the right way. And that's where the platforms now are all just embracing video. They all want it as their priority, content. So it's great. It's just a matter of making sure that you're leveraging it the right way. You're getting in front of enough people.
Okay, so let's get on to your first book that you wrote, because there's a few things in there I wanted to touch on. Where do people start? Like, first off, just explain the power of video.
Oh, look, video is extraordinary. I mean, you've got 5 billion. I've got some. 5 billion videos are watched every day on YouTube.
That's
and
incredible.
A third of those are watched by my son after he said he's gone to bed.
Yeah, that's my daughter. No, it's your son and my daughter. She's the same thing. I can see the light flashing in a room. I read a stat somewhere that kids under 15 or something like that, when it comes to, say, viewing. My mum, for example, she's in her 70s, probably watches television more than anything else. But my daughter, who's 15, watches YouTube more than anything else.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, the kids these days, their celebrities are no longer television people, they're YouTubers. Yeah. They're the ones who are now getting that celebrity status, which is exciting because it means there's no barrier to entry. You've got a phone, you've got a free Google account, you're a broadcaster. It's that easy. So it's really even the playing field. And it's opened it up for so many people in so many, ways. So many different types of characters are now getting out. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff, which is great. It means if somebody's got an idea and they're passionate about it, they can go for it. Before, you'd have to lobby, the program director and see if you can get them interested in what you've got to sell. And, now it's so much easier than it's ever been. When I wrote the book back in 2013, it was a different world again from where we are now 6 years later, because back then I was talking about the different video cameras you'd needed and different sorts of technology. Now, of course, we walk around with a high quality, high definition 4K camera in our pocket, which I think people sometimes underestimate just how powerful it is. I mean, it's actually, it's certainly a lot better than cameras that I've shot with over the years that we have these days. And the other thing to remember is the best camera you have is the one you've got with you at the time. So there's no barrier to entry for people these days. But of course, there's some fundamental things about filming that you want to think about. So the sort of things I unpack in the first book is, get the framing right. So have the head at the top of the frame rather than a lot of people put the head in the middle of the frame and they've got all this empty space above it.
Okay.
Make sure your sound's okay.
Yeah, these are some of the tips that I wanted you to touch on, because I know someone listening to this and they may be shooting videos already, but you are a video expert. So it'd be great to get straight from the horse's mouth on what they should be doing to create a better video, especially if they've got the video camera is in their pocket.
Well, yeah. And look, I guess, if you want to go through the right order of things is be clear on what your purpose is, why you're making the video. What's it for? What are you trying to achieve with it? If it's just, promotion, brand loyalty, building up brand profile, that's fine. Make it consistent with who you are or what your brand is, depending on what you're filming.
Yeah.
But have some understanding of what your strategy is around it and what you're trying to achieve.
Is that sometimes what can make a video bad? Is when someone hooks up the video camera, they have no idea what they're going to say. I need to shoot a video, and they haven't put any thought into it beforehand, and that's how it comes across. That very little thought. They're rambling. Well,
I think you've got to understand, attention is the most valuable commodity we have online these days, people's attention. So you don't want to waste that. If you've got them to watch your video, you need to get onto it quickly, and you want to make it clear why they should be watching this as soon as it starts. So I tell people, having a 10-second beautiful 3D animated logo is just a waste of time and money, and people will click away after 3 seconds. They're not going to wait till the bloody logo resolves. They're going to go on to see something else. So, being clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it, and getting to the point as quickly as possible. That's going to make it easier for people to watch it, and they're going to be more interested in it. So, put your branding at the end if you want to, or put a logo, a watermark, along the video. But it's not about you. Got to understand who is your audience, what do you want them to get out of it, and get to that point as quickly as possible. So that's about having a purpose, having a strategy around it is important. And I guess in this day and age, it is so easy for anybody to do it. And people may be worried about I'm going to look silly or whatever. You can delete it. You can
Probably. You probably will, but that's just part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but start, have a go, get some messages out there. If you're not comfortable with doing it, probably hang around some social media channels where they have a lot of video content, where there's sort of people that are posting the sort of things you can imagine yourself posting, and eventually you become quite comfortable with it and you think, yeah, I can do that as well, and jump into it.
So going back to the first step, when you said about having a clear purpose on why you're shooting a video and get to that point really fast, is there like, if I had a video camera in front of me and I go, hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and today I want to talk to you about this. So straight away, within the first 2 or 3 seconds, people know who I am and why I'm shooting the video today.
Well, or even you could start later on in the video, you could say, one of the biggest problems facing podiatrists is this. Identify a problem that they can immediately go, oh, yes, I'm interested. And say, look, I'm Tyson, this is what I do, and I'm going to unpack this for you now.
Oh, so it's mention the problem up early. Mention the problem first.
Yeah.
Then go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so hook them in with the problem. Say, look, getting consistent clients in the podiatry practice is one of the biggest challenges we have. I'm Tyson Franklin. I've been operating podiatry for blah, blah, blah. So give them the problem, then identify yourself and maybe a little bit of credibility if you need to. But then again, if it's ongoing, you just want to get to the point as quickly as possible. If it's coming up in their social media feed from you, if it's not sponsored content, if they're already following you, they've already got a bit of an idea of who you are and what you're about. So you don't need to explain everything. You just want to get it as quickly as possible. I've got in my new book, I've got Edward Zia, who's a bit of a social media. I was going to say another word, bit of social media tart.
Tart's good. Yeah. Social media tart is a good word. That's a polite word, actually.
Yeah, well, that's what I was looking for. Something. But he's amazing. He's put 3 videos out every day where but he just gets to the point. It's like he doesn't need to explain who it is. He'll just get straight on with it. He'll explain the problem, and it's a great way to get engagement and add value, because you want people to be getting value from what you're saying. Otherwise, they're going to tune out. So, and I think actually that's something I've learned along the way is it's. Sometimes people say, oh, who am I to offer this advice or to say this or to do this? But if you turn it, and also I felt like with sending out my newsletters, I was worried about bothering people, with my sales pitch. But when I shifted it and say, well, rather than me selling to people, how can I be offering them helpful advice? How can I make their life easier with some information I share? So some learnings I've had through making videos for clients, what things can I pass on to them so they'll get some value out of it? And when you shift it into how can I be helpful to people? What ways can I make their life easier? Yeah. I think it makes it easier then to come up with content ideas.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so once they know the purpose, what is the next thing they need to do? You mentioned something about having that you're positioned properly in front of the camera.
Yeah, and there's some tools. I mean, you can get a selfie stick if you want. You can have someone hold it for you and film it for you. You can get these Osmo gimbal things, which are these handheld stabilizers that you can put your phone in, an Osmo Mobile. They cost about $200. It's a great piece of kit. And then if you're filming yourself, I mean, obviously there's a lot of different productions you can make. But if we're just talking about a talking head scenario, a quick and easy, simple one, make sure your head's sort of framed in at the top of the frame. Be aware of what's going on in the background, because that's part of the story as well. I try to discourage people filming against a wall, because it looks like you're on some kind of police lineup. And also,
unless you are on a police lineup, which would be funny.
Well, let me show you how my day's going.
Yeah, I bet your day's better than mine.
So, and also be aware of lighting. If you've got, a bright window behind you, it does risk that you become silhouetted. Yeah. So you want to have the light on your face. And the main thing is sound. So make sure that you're listening to what's going on around you. If you're filming out on the road and you've got trucks and cars whizzing past, it's going to be very difficult. If you've got kids screaming, planes overhead, just listen, for what's going on, and just take a second. Otherwise, you're going to play it back and listen to it afterwards and check and see, does that sound okay? Because one of the things that really affects your credibility is the audio. People will tolerate a bit of a dodgy looking picture, but if they can't hear you properly, it just sounds really awful. It affects your credibility, and it just makes you seem like a bit of an amateur. So I tell people they need to be within breathing distance of the microphone. So not too far away. So, but a mobile phone is perfectly fine if you're just getting started with all of that. You can get great quality stuff off the phone. So there's some of the essential technical things I'd be advising people about, and keeping it steady as well. You want people to be focused on the message, not focused on the technology behind it. So don't be noisy, touching the microphone and wobbling the camera around. Yeah, because you want people to be looking at what's going on. There's
a couple of things. When I've watched videos, I know sometimes the lighting may not be the best depending on where they're shooting it. But I think you can't forgive people when the camera's moving around a lot and their head's bobbling around, and you're sort of going, okay, that's a bit hard to tolerate, especially when they're trying to actually keep it still. And I think even with the noise and background noise, I think sometimes if you pre-frame where you are early and you apologize, I'm shooting this such and such, you may hear some noise in the background. I usually don't have too much of a problem with that. It's when they don't make that, they're just shooting a video and all of a sudden a truck's going past and there's birds chirping and kids screaming in the background, and they just pretend it's not there. I find that going, okay, that's a little bit odd.
Yeah, well, like if you're at a conference or something and you're sharing some updates of what you're learning during the sessions, if you can show the crowd behind you that's making the noise, then you've got the context and you understand, okay, look, they've just walked out of a session, so is everybody else. There's milling going on. There's a bit of networking happening. I understand. But so long as you can project your voice enough so that you can be heard, that's helpful. Of course, in this day and age, audio is becoming less relevant, having said all that, because of most people are watching their videos on social media mute. So there's reports out about 85% of videos are watched without sound these days. So that's where captions are really handy.
That was going to be my next question about captions.
Yeah, well, that just requires a little bit of processing afterwards. But I refer people to rev.com, rev.com, because it's just amazing. They can turn your audio around for about $1 US a minute, and they'll do it in a couple of hours. If it's a short video, if it's 1 or 2 minutes, you'll get this transcript back straight away. And for me, that's kind of like the best money you can spend. It's a no-brainer. You just set up an account, you send it off, and it comes back to you. It's mostly accurate. It's about 99% accurate. It's done by real people. It's not done by a machine. They do have a 10-cent a minute option, which is a machine one, which you then have to go through and correct it because it gets about 90% right. But that's a no-brainer. Is getting your captions done, uploading them with your video. You can either upload the caption file, which is an SRT file, when you upload the video to LinkedIn or Facebook. But I find it can be a little bit, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So what we tend to do is just burn the captions into the video itself. So they're there, you can't remove them, but everybody gets to see them.
Okay, and there's different types of videos people would shoot depending on what it is they're trying to do. So whether it's education, inspiration, just information about the business itself. Should videos be shot a different way depending on what you're trying to do or what the message you're trying to get across?
Look, yeah, sure. I talk about 3 levels of video production. So you've got the casual content, which is the stuff you shoot on your phone when you're at the conference. Here, I'm just going to give you an update of what's going on. Okay, yeah. People don't expect it to be high quality. They understand the context. They understand you're just delivering something, at the time. And it's kind of disposable. It's not stuff that's perhaps meant to have a major life afterwards. Unless somebody does something stupid in the background, it becomes a viral video unintentionally. And that
can be good or bad.
Well, it's probably good if you can crack that one. Yeah. Then I talk about community grade content, and this is stuff that you send out to people who are already part of your network. So you're not necessarily trying to showcase your company and all the bells and whistles, but you need some credibility. So you've got the audio right, you've got the framing right, you've got the lighting right, but it doesn't necessarily need to be done by a top-end production company, but it still needs to tick a few of the boxes that I've mentioned before. So you might be using a better camera there and have a better microphone with that and a couple of lights and stuff to make that work. And that's where you're talking with staff, with suppliers, with existing clients. At schools, you might be talking to parents as well. So these are people that are already part of your community. That you're not needing to sell to them, but you are wanting to keep engaged with them, update them with some information, make certain announcements and whatnot. So there might be a bit more production involved with that. There might be some B-roll footage that you use in that as well to help enhance it all. And then you've got what I call the commercial grade quality. And that's the stuff which is, your high-end production videos, your corporate videos, which are then, they're used to showcase your business in its best light. They might be used on television commercials or on Facebook ads and that sort of thing. So they require a bit more thought. They might be, a lot more scripted. You might have actors in it, depending on what your business is. Yeah. And all of that. So different, there's different needs and so different sort of production qualities. But that's the situation where, I have clients and I encourage them, even though they're paying us to make their videos for them, to also think about the content that they can create themselves. Because in this day and age, they can and they should. So, I give them tips on how to, shoot their own videos as well.
Okay. So like we said earlier on, we're all carrying around like a 4K camera in our pockets, which can do some great videos. And I remember seeing a TV commercial a couple of years ago. I think it was an iPhone commercial, and they were talking about, and at the end it said this whole commercial was shot using an iPhone. So it goes to show how good the quality can be.
They probably had a great cinematographer doing the lighting and everything to make it work. But yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't some guy just dangling out the window of a car with the iPhone sort of jiggling around everywhere. But if somebody if they're thinking, okay, I've been doing videos on my iPhone, I'm really happy with the quality, but I want to just take it up a level. Would you say is there any particular brands or equipment that you would say this is the next level up if you want to get a bit more serious?
Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of the mid range of where we play, because we have our $8,000-$10,000 cameras. But there's some great digital SLR cameras out there. Sony have got a really good range these days, and actually they're taking a lot of. Canon came out with their digital SLR there, and their 5D, which totally transformed the market. But then since then, Sony are now taking a good chunk of the Canon market because people are really impressed with the quality of their cameras. So their A7 range. So they've got an A7R, an A7S, and an A7 range of really nice cameras, which take stills and video. But the thing about that is they are stills cameras which can record video. So you can sort of plug a microphone. You've got to plug all these accessories in, so that it builds up and becomes quite a big thing to turn it into a proper video operation. But it does a great job. But they're a couple of grand as well. So I mean, you can shop around and get handy cams and stuff like that, but I can't really advise what would be the best in that price range.
Yeah. I've got a Canon 70D, I think, that has a Rode microphone that attaches to it that sort of points out, and I've used that at different times for shooting certain videos, and then also used it where the person's had like a Bluetooth microphone on and hooked it up through that, and that's worked well as well. Yeah, especially at seminars and conferences, if somebody's like a fair distance away and you're still shooting the video but capturing the audio at the same time. But I found the easiest one is using my iPhone, using the iPhone and a lapel mic, just to get the quality a little bit better. Yep.
Look, and they're kind of, I mean, we call them phones. They're really cameras that can make phone calls these days, the way that they've built them. And they do have, amazing functions on them. So yeah, it's certainly, you can get a long way just with the mobile phones before you have to start investing in gear. And then you got to weigh up, is it worth investing in gear? Do you want to become a video production business? Because what I recommend is actually hiring the cameraman who uses that equipment every day, knows it inside out, and can really get the best out of it. Because if you go and spend thousands of dollars on a piece of gear, you've then got to learn how to use it. And you're never going to know it as well as the guy who uses it every day. So you might be better off just planning, being a bit more strategic about it, and say, listen, we want to make, a couple of corporate videos. What you need is the experts to do it for you at that point.
Okay, so it comes back to the purpose that you're doing the video for. So if you're doing short videos just to get some quick information out there, capture their attention really fast, having the iPhone on a tripod or somewhere where it can be stable is the fastest and easiest way for the average business person to just get content out there.
Yeah, so you can pick up on eBay for $12 a tripod that'll mount your phone on it, and and then you can get a lapel microphone for about $50, and that'll work a treat as well.
Yeah, I just bought a new tripod, but it's got a little Bluetooth remote control on it, which is pretty cool as well. So therefore, I can actually have the tripod a little bit further away, and I've got a lapel mic with an extension cable onto it, so I can actually be a fair distance away from it, which seems to work.
You can also record your audio into your H6 Zoom, so you can have them a separate audio source, so they don't have to be the same. What I do is if you're quite far away from the phone and you want to be, but it's too far to set up a microphone. If you've got an external recorder, you can use a second phone as an external recorder. Put that in your top pocket with the microphone sticking up.
Okay.
And you can actually then sync it up. So what to do to sync it is I just clap 3 times in front of the camera when I'm recording, and then when you go into the edit suite, you'll have the vision of the clapping, and you'll see the peaks of the audio, and you just line those up, and it's like your old clapperboard.
Oh, nifty little trick. Because I've often wondered about recording audio and recording video separate, and then trying to make sure that you can sync them up the right way. But once you get it synced, then it's going to be perfect all the way through. You hope. Yeah,
generally. Sometimes if the frequencies are out a little bit, it can tweak a little bit, but it's usually not a major problem.
Okay. Now, in your book, you've got a chapter there called "Moving the Picture." and you're talking about YouTube, Vimeo, Vidi, and Vine. I've never heard of Vidi.
Well, that was 6 years ago. Obviously, it never lasted, so that was relevant at the time. So I think that was was Vidi or Vine. They were 6-second videos. One of those.
Okay.
And yeah, it didn't catch on.
Yeah, if you were writing this now, would you have their YouTube, Vimeo, and probably Instagram?
Yeah. So I've spoken about that in the new book. So and Facebook as well. Facebook is a video platform as well.
Oh, true. Yeah.
It very, and all of those, and LinkedIn as well is a video platform now. They prioritize video as the content they want and the content they're going to promote more actively. So I do talk about, if you are posting video to social media, to upload the native video file as opposed to putting a link to YouTube or Vimeo. So what I mean by that is upload the MP4 file directly into Facebook or directly into LinkedIn or directly into Instagram. Because if you put a link to YouTube, it's not going to get as much promotion from the platforms, because they want to keep people on their own platforms. They don't want to send them away to other platforms. So look at thinking about uploading the native video files, and you get a lot more engagement.
Okay, and what's your thinking on Vimeo in comparison to YouTube?
Well, in my new book, I unpack that a bit about some of the pros and cons.
Let's touch on that. Let's touch. I don't have a copy of the new book, so let's touch on your thoughts.
I have to get my book in front of me now. You're putting me on this. Look, we're actually using Vimeo for our. We've got the YouTube channel as well. Look, they've both got pros and cons. So YouTube is really easy to search. It's second largest search engine. People find it all the time. People go to YouTube to actually search for a particular thing.
Yeah.
So for SEO, YouTube is great. So for that reason, put your videos on YouTube. Vimeo, I find, has a lot more functions, or easier to manage functions in terms of collating your content, sharing it, distributing it. I put all our clients' videos into portfolios on Vimeo. It's easy for us to then share them. It's easier for us to find them when we need to as well. But also, you can have a download option on Vimeo as well, so you can download it. You can change the color scheme of it as well, so you can put your own color branding on it. You can identify which buttons you want to show up when the video is played, whether you want to have your logo or the title or not, or whatever in there. So Vimeo's got quite a lot of layers on it, and you can also sell your content on Vimeo as well. So and some of these are the subscriber based models, so the paid versions. But we get to upload 20 gigabytes of videos a week on a subscription, and it's not very expensive. I think it's, I don't know, $10 or $20 a month or something. And so we've got plenty of content there that we can use for Vimeo. So yeah, it's look, they're both, but there's no harm having them on both. You can have your YouTube one for your SEO purposes and your Vimeo one for your management one. It really depends on how much content you're putting up there as to how important that is.
Okay. So, and then you also mentioned about proliferation, like getting it out there. What do you mean by proliferation? Where in context of video?
Well, yeah. Well, it's all about getting it out there, getting it in front of people, and because, as I say in my new book, a video is worthless if nobody sees it.
That's
true.
So
you want to make sure people are seeing it and they're engaging with it. So the more you can get it out there, some of the things I talk about are some. There's some really simple little tricks that you can do, such as put your video in your email signature. So every time you put a link to the YouTube video, every time you send out an email, there's a little thumbnail with a picture of the video. Watch our lessons on this, or learn about this, or see our latest video on that. And every email that goes out, and then change it every month or so if you need to, if you've got a new one. But it's a great way to get your video content in front of people that may not otherwise see it and may not realize you're making video content. And and the chances are, they're going to click on it when they wouldn't have otherwise. So they're going to, you easily get engagement that way. Another thing that's really useful with this is if you've got a marketing video that you want to, you want people to see, and if you've got a meeting with a potential client, the day before, send them a link to your video and say, hey, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, especially if you've sent the meeting up, weeks beforehand and you're not sure if they've remembered it.
Yeah.
This is a way to, quietly say, by the way, we're still meeting, aren't we?
Yeah. It's a good reminder.
Send them the video. Yeah. And say, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Here's a short video which just gives you a little bit of an idea of what we do and how we can help. And then you don't need to spend the meeting talking about yourself because you've already introduced yourself. They've seen what you do, and they, if they still want to go ahead with their meeting, hopefully they understand that, you're going to be able to add value. And so that means you can spend the meeting listening to them and listening to their needs and their problems rather than trying to sell your services, because clients want you to understand what they need. And so if you're talking to them about their problems and not about yourself, you're going to have much more engagement.
Okay. And then if they cancel the appointment the day before after watching your video, you need to update your videos.
Or maybe you saved both of yourselves some good time where it's like, yeah, actually they weren't the right way to be spending my time if we're not offering what they need. So yeah, but if it keeps happening, you might want to look at your video. But that's where you want a high quality one.
That point you said about like putting it in your emails. A friend of mine was talking about digital real estate, and he says it's surprising how much digital real estate we have that we're using on a regular basis, but we forget to tell people the different things that we're doing. So like tagging your latest YouTube video at the bottom of your emails in your signature so people can see that, because not everybody knows that you do videos and that they're readily available to watch. That was a good tip. Yeah. Have you got any other little secret tips like that? A good ways for people to get their videos seen more?
Yeah, well, look, another thing you can do is, I don't know if you've heard of these LCD brochures, which they're these brochures which are physical brochures which can have a video in it.
Yes, yeah.
So the beauty of this is it's quite solid, it's quite tangible, it feels quite valuable. It's got an LCD screen in it. It's not something you're going to throw in the bin as soon as you get it. So
how much are they to create?
Look, I think they range from about $50 if you're running, 100 of them or so. But and obviously per unit they get more expensive if you're doing short runs. But if you're having trouble getting in front of somebody in particular and you really want them to see this video and this is what they need and this is going to work, put one of those in a handwritten envelope to the CEO of whatever company. And the chances are, they're going to see it because it just feels too valuable to ignore. And so that's probably one way where you can really cut through the noise. But it's a bit of investment, but you put your branding all over it. You can sort of put some quick information about, what your business offers and the problems that you solve on the packaging. So that's certainly one way. The other thing to think about is, if you've got people in your video, you might have interviewed somebody that already has a bit of a following. Yeah. Leverage their community. How can they share your content for you as well? And sometimes you can use that strategically. So you think, well, I'll interview this person because, they're a big influencer. And then they'll be able to promote us when they share it as well. So that's where you can be a bit more strategic about what you're trying to achieve and getting in front of the right people.
So this is why I got you on the show, Geoff.
Right. I'm going to be one of those. I was reading about the influencers who ring up and say, we want a free hotel room because, we've got 75,000 followers. And the hotel manager said, yeah, well, I've got 300,000 followers and not really interested. Thanks very much.
That's funny.
So, yes. The other thing is, as I was saying before, is to reshare it. Don't think because they've posted it once that it's done, the job's done. I mean, step 2 is about making sure it's getting out to the audience, getting out to people. So think of ways where you can reshare your content as many times as possible in different platforms as possible. So you've got your email, you've got your, think about your LinkedIn groups or your Facebook groups. So not just your front page, but the groups that you're involved with, because if you share it with groups, you get a lot more engagement because it's a tighter community. So look at those opportunities as well to get there. As far as leverage, also think of the different stories you can tell about something. So it might be the days of making a 10-minute video have well and truly passed us by, where you sit someone in a boardroom and you chuck a VHS tape in there and make them watch it. Nowadays, it's shorter content in bite-sized chunks. So if you do have a longer story to tell it in little bite-sized chunks. Break it up into easy to digest pieces. And that can be a bit of a narrative that unfolds for people as they watch it.
Okay, so would that be what's your perfect timing for video? And yeah, how long is a piece of string?
Look, it's around 60 to 90 seconds is the short answer. The longer answer is it depends on keeping the audience engaged. I mean, we go and watch 2-hour movies because we're engaged with it and we're sucked into it. If it's relevant and useful and valuable information or entertaining, people will stick with it. So, you've got to get that balance right. Maybe find a way to make it a bit more entertaining than it would be otherwise, and that can keep people engaged. It's about making it relevant for the audience. So there is certainly a place for longer form videos, and I think Facebook are actually trying to encourage it now, where the videos go for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But they do need to be engaging for people. So you need to keep them interested. So whether that's through the way you've edited it, whether it's the content itself, it just depends on who you're talking to. But if it's useful and valuable and interesting and entertaining, then you've got room to move with it. It doesn't have to all be this short, sharp stuff.
Okay, I do have. So if somebody's starting videos, would they? Because you said with Facebook can go up to 4 or 5 minutes now. If they're first starting out, are they better to shoot shorter ones so that people can see the quality of the content that they're putting out there, and people go, oh, every time this person speaks, I really enjoy what they say. And then once they build up a bit of trust in their videos, they can then extend the length of the videos afterwards. Yeah,
and the reason I say yes to that is because I think it actually takes initially more work to get it shorter. There's a great letter. A cardinal wrote a letter to somebody saying, I'm sorry for writing you a long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one. Yeah. And it actually takes work to get your message down tight. So I think that's a very good discipline because you don't want to be wasting people's time. And if you think I've got 5 minutes to talk, you can end up waffling and wasting people's time. Whereas if you think, okay, I've got 30 seconds here where this is the one point I want to make, and this is how I'm going to, the 3 issues I'm going to raise in that point, and bang, do it, get it short and sharp. Definitely, that's very good discipline. And then when you want to expand it into a longer one, you've got some good framework there where you're only adding more value. You're not just waffling.
Okay. What's your thinking on Facebook Live videos? Yeah, shooting live videos. Tips and tricks?
Look, just be aware of your surroundings, obviously, in regards to those fundamentals around sound and lighting before you start. Look, it's a challenge with Facebook Live because you do need to build up the audience, and that takes a few minutes for people to realise you're live and to check in. I'm a little bit wary about watching Facebook Live. I don't know why. I feel like, they know I'm looking at them now.
The problem I have with Facebook Live is sometimes someone say the first time, say it was you, for example. It won't be you, but say it was you. And next thing you're on Facebook Live, I go, oh, Jeff's on. I'm going to click on. And I get on there and just go, yeah, hey, how you doing? I'm just waiting till a few more people come on. And hey, John, how you doing? How's the kids? I hope that had the dog's flea problem is gone. And they're just waffling on for 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm there going, come on, you're killing me. But I'm too scared to leave now because I'm here.
Well, and I think you need to have a bit of a strategy with it in terms of you do need to be making it useful. Perhaps you can preempt, say, look, I'm going to be talking about this today because this is really important and blah, 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 blah. So you can set it up and explain what you're going to be talking about. And then after you've got a bit of momentum with people coming in, you can then start to unpack it a bit for them. But you do need to be providing it, content as you go. It's a challenging one. I have heard that it doesn't get as much engagement as a recorded video that you upload that can have an ongoing life as well. So it's a bit of fun. It's certainly good for, live things that are happening and drawing people's attention to it.
Okay, yeah.
So it has its place, but...
Yeah, I'm like you, though. I do have a fear. There's certain people now that when they're on live, I'm like, I'll wait because I know they're going to have the recording. So I'll wait half an hour till the recording's over. Then I can fast forward through the dog and the fleas till I can get onto the good stuff. So you're saying when they're starting those videos, they may even have a bit of pre-content that as soon as they get on there, they can start talking about for for the people that come on early, so they're getting a little bit of bonus stuff, and then they get into the actual subject. So you're not sitting there bored just waiting for the other two people to join.
No, and I think that's the way you do it. You do need to have a bit of a strategy with it where you can, chunk it down into sections. So the first 2 or 3 minutes, it's building up, it's outlining what you're going to be talking about. And then when you hit the 3-minute mark, you need to be really going into it full on and unpacking it all. That's, the stats show that it does take a few minutes to build up the audience. So that's the challenge with that.
Okay, so if somebody was listening to this now and they're going, I'm scared, but I know I need to do it. It's going to be good for my business. I keep hearing this all the time, that video is where it's at these days. Would you just say, just do it? Just shoot that first one, put it out there, and just see what sort of response you get.
Yes, in a nutshell, have a go. As we were saying before, you can record it, and if it's if it's a mess, delete that take and do another take. Do a few takes until you get one that you think, yep, look, that's as good as it's going to get. I'll give that a go and put it up there. Another way where you can get some good once you've actually doing a bit more and you're a bit more comfortable with it. But another way you can get good leverage of your videos is to get your community to make comments on it straight away. So as soon as it goes up there, send a link out to them, say, hey, listen, I've posted this. Can you jump on and comment it? Because that triggers the algorithms to say, oh, right, this is interesting for people because all these people are making comments and liking and sharing it. So therefore, we'll boost it so that more people see it. So that's getting your community on board as a way to,
That's another tip. It was another tip and trick. Yeah. You're just full of them. I know, we could probably talk for 2 hours, and I know we would constantly just keep dragging stuff out of you, but I know we can't keep doing that. So I want to let people know that if you want to get hold of Geoff, you just got to go to sonicsite.com.au or geoffanderson.com.au. Are there any other places where people can connect with you if they've listened to you and they've gone, this dude sounds like he knows what he's talking about?
Look, they'd probably be the go-to places. Welcome to find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, and let me know how you know me. And I'm fairly friendly person, so I'll link up with you. So I'll have the links for my new books, for my book on geoffanderson.com.au, and I'll have a link from the Sonic site one as well over to there somehow as well.
Yeah, well, as soon as all that stuff's available, let me know, and I'll post it on social media as well. So, Geoff, I want to thank you for coming on It's No Secret with Dr. T. As I always say, I learn so much from my guests. I feel pretty selfish sometimes, but I hope everybody that's listening to this has got something out of it as well. And if you have any questions, please send Geoff an email. All the details will be in the show notes. So, Geoff, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tyson. It's been an absolute pleasure. Enjoyed it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to Geoff Anderson today from Sonic Site. And I think there's an important point to remember, and he did mention it during this podcast episode, was that for most of us, all the technology we need is probably in our pocket right now. The quality of the camera and the videos that you can take on your iPhones and other smartphones is amazing. The hardest thing is just doing it. And I understand when you're in front of a camera, sometimes you'll watch yourself, you feel a little bit goofy, everybody feels they sound a little bit funny, but the more you do it, the easier it will get. And like Geoff said, if you shoot the video and you don't like it, just delete it and then shoot it again and then shoot it again. But it is a great way to engage with the people that you want to connect with. Just keep that top of mind. And then after shooting this, or after recording this today, I came across this quote, which I thought was great, by James Wedmore. And he said, stop thinking of video marketing as a separate entity that is optional for your business. Video is an effective form of communication that needs to be integrated into each and every aspect of your existing marketing efforts. I think that is a really, really good quote. Now, before I go, if you've been enjoying this particular podcast, It's No Secret with Dr. T, please send me an email. Let me know. Give us some feedback. Just send it to tf@tysonfranklin.com. Tell your friends and family about it. And if you're a podiatrist or in the healthcare industry, you might want to go over and check out the Podiatry Legends podcast. There are some amazing stories of what podiatrists are doing all around the world. And if you are a podiatrist, I've got a marketing event coming up on the 23rd of November down on the Gold Coast. Go to my website. All the details are there. Okay, that's it from me this week. Look after yourself. Look after your family, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye for now.